welcome back.
Hello,
You
everyone.
may have noticed we went absent last week, but we're back. And tonight we're going to look at when is your hobby not a hobby but a business. We've
Yes,
got some books with a cultural focus for our books of the week. We've got a technique focus on color dominance and some updates, and of course, the chicken of wisdom shares.
absolutely.
All right,
Perfect.
start with updates.
Start with updates.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Yarn Trail Victoria has a couple of small updates. Everyone, I'd like you to get your diaries out now, please. So if you could do that, whether they're electronic or whatever it is, I'll give you a moment. All right, good,
Okay.
let's go. I've got one set of dates for you, which is in August. We have a deluxe retreat happening in August.
Deluxe.
Yes,
Remind us what's involved in deluxe.
Okay, deluxe is where it's learning and connection, all in the one retreat. It's a 3-night retreat, and it's happening along the coast. So along the coast in August, and I'll just get those dates. What was it? The 17th. Hang on, let me just.
Sorry, Jess.
The 17th to the 20th of August.
Oh, excellent, excellent. All right, I'm writing this down. Everyone, write this down.
17th to the 20th of August, there will be wonderful food, wonderful views, trust me, just a spectacular location. I'm not going to give too many more details away. Obviously, things need to be confirmed. But yeah, there'll be at least one, maybe 2 tutors there for the whole weekend, and it will be focusing on, well, lots of different workshops, not lots of different workshops, lots of different ideas. We'll have a couple of different workshops, and then a lot of flexibility to do what you want and make some amazing connections with some amazing other knitters. So that's happening in August. And then please also do, if you're in Victoria, or even if you'd like to come to Victoria, in May, that could be quite a handy time to come. We've got Wednesday, the 24th of May until Sunday, the 28th of May. So in there'll be some workshops. It's Heritage Week here in Ballarat that week, and we've got Craft Lab happening that weekend, the 2 weekends around those days as well. So it is the week to be in Ballarat. And Pru's coming across. We're going to do some workshops, and there's a potential market happening, and the woolcraft stuff that we're actually talking about. So again, it's funny, isn't it, Pru? Like you can say dates, but then there's still so many conversations to happen around these things, and it's kind of like, I want to tell you it all, but I can't, because it might change, and I have to confirm with this person and that person, and those sorts of things. But yeah, so May and August, actually, and then everyone listen out for dates again, have to confirm for the knitting season. So I'm hoping for something in June. There's a potential in October as well, maybe around the MCAL and Socktober and stuff like that. I kind of like that idea. And yeah. So there, and Prue reminded me today too, there's the World Knit in Public Day, so we're going to mark that somehow. We'll mark that somehow, but it won't be a big weekend, but we'll mark that somehow here in Ballarat and get a group of people together somehow in public to do what we love and knit.
It's so exciting. I love this time of year when we're wrapping up. We're also looking ahead to next year and all the exciting things that are going to happen. And I think just having something to write in the diary and imagine and sort of be excited about is so cool. So thank you for giving us those 2 dates.
That's all right. And the thing is, it seems so far away. A lot of this stuff, you think, oh, it seems so far away, but it's really going to go so fast. And by the time you organize these things, you think, oh, wow, it's ages away. It's like 6 or 7 months. Oh, it's only 6 or 7 months. Yeah. So
there's so many things that have to happen behind the scenes to make
absolutely
sure that it goes so smoothly and everything, but it will be awesome. Another date for the diary, while we've got the diaries out, is March 26th. So that's our Fibre Feast here in Adelaide, South Australia. So we already released that date ages ago, but that's coming up quickly. A couple of other dates, just in December, I've got some Knitmas workshops. So if you're interested in any of that and you're in Adelaide or around Adelaide, there's some workshops there. That's my update, apart from the other very exciting one, which if you follow me on or whatever, you can see me in here, which is
How
pretty
lovely.
exciting. So that's
This
my
is
other
very
update.
cool.
There's like
Gorgeous.
story there, and then I'm going to tell you more about the bit at the back later, but there is actually also a tutorial on our topic technique for tonight. Oh, where is it? There it is. There we go.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
On color dominance. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
Excellent. That is very exciting. It's lovely to see your stuff in print, isn't it? That's wonderful.
Oh, it is very nice to see in print, and it's such a beautiful magazine. I don't know, have you looked at Yarnologie Magazine before?
Yes, I have. I've got the first couple of copies. I have to go and get this one and pre-order.
You better go get this.
I better go get this one. I really should. I really need.
The quality of the paper, like the size of it, it's just a really nice.
It's a very pleasant, tangible experience, isn't it? Like, it's just lovely to hold and touch, and the photography is gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. What's next, Prue?
So should we jump into our topic, our business topic for tonight?
I reckon we should.
Yeah, I think we should, because I think it's one that a lot of yarn crafters like us struggle with around, is my hobby a side hustle? Is it a hobby? Is it a business? Is it a what is it?
Probably all of those things at various times and in various measures, isn't it really? So I think it's a really interesting thing to think about, because and particularly for me, because I'm not, I adore knitting and all of that sort of stuff, and I look forward to it when I can do it all the time, and I make sure I do it every day. Not religiously, but it's how I relax and this sort of thing. And you think, hang on, there's really something in here that I just adore, that I love this, and I want it to be bigger, and I want it to sort of do something else. But I'm not necessarily into dyeing and stuff like that. Maybe I will be one day, but it's just sort of, what else is going on out there, and how can I get people to connect over this? And I think when you start getting to those bigger, the bigger questions, that means it involves more people.
Yeah.
I think that's a key part of when you go, hang on, this is a bit more than a hobby for me. Perhaps there's a bit of potential here, because I need to actually, plan ahead and involve people, and for this to work, it relies on others. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So that, I mean, what you're talking about there is thinking like an entrepreneur, where you're seeing that there's a problem or a gap in the market, or an opportunity that if you collaborate with others, you can bring something to life. So there's something missing, or an opportunity, or something you want to take further, a concept, a plan, an idea,
something you can do just a bit differently, or
Exactly. And then when you start also, I think, expecting an exchange of money or in kind, for what it is that you do, I think that's also a sign that maybe you've shifted from being a hobby to being a business.
Yes.
And in actual fact, the definition on the Australian Tax Office website is like,
we're getting exciting now, people.
Very exciting now, we're quoting the ATO, but it's when you start seeking to make profit from what you do. So that's when you should be applying for an ABN, Australian Business Number, or that's when you're actually not just a hobby, you're a business, because you're doing something to make a profit. It's one thing if you're like, oh, I've got a bunch of hand knits that I want to make space where I can sell them. But it's another thing when you're knitting something knowing that you're going to sell the thing. Or you're dyeing yarn knowing you're going to sell that yarn. That's definitely a shift from.
Or you're creating experience where you have to sell tickets to people
sell tickets, exactly,
to come along to actually do it. And it does require a whole different shift in your thinking as well, especially when you get to the stage where you realize how much actual work it's going to be. And and then there's the nerve-wracking part of, look, there's financial risk involved in this as well. So it's all very exciting and I'm super enthusiastic, but oh my goodness, yes, if I don't do X, then I'll lose this, and I have to figure out ways to do this properly, and that all of that means possibly, means a bit less knitting time, because you've got to, well, I know, but you've got to, there's a business, there's administration of a business to actually do, and growth of a business to actually do anything. Oh, okay. But then I suppose the good thing is that for me with Yarn Trail Victoria, it's, you know, there's nerve-wracking moment. It's like, oh, I'm new to this. Like, what am I going to do? But I rest easier. Doesn't mean I don't get nervous or whatever, but I rest easier because I know there's something in it. Like I'm just convinced, and that's why I can't not do it. The way I put it is that I can't not do it. And that doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. It doesn't mean I know exactly what I'm doing every step of the way. It doesn't mean, you know, all of that stuff. That's the really normal, messy bits of things. But I think for me, I'm convinced there's something in it and it's really good, and I'll see how that grows and I'll see how that develops, and that keeps me going even on the days where it's like, oh, I'm not excited about it today, I'm just too tired, or I just want to do this, you know, those days.
That's where that whole thing around calling is funny, like, because it's almost like there's this sort of imperative to do it. And I feel the same. Like, I had to make a choice earlier this year between my permanent full-time job and my side hustle, what I thought was my side hustle, because I've been doing Dear Prue now for like 5 years. And I had convinced myself that it wasn't really a business. But then when I look back, I'm like, it totally was. I always ran it as a business.
Always was, yeah.
But I was thinking, oh, you can't really, it's not a business that I can live off. But yeah, that's not the point. It's like when I had to confront the choice of, do I continue to do this business, or do I, well, I had to choose basically, do I stay with my full-time job and dial back my business, or do I allow my business to grow because there were new opportunities emerging? And to do it properly, like, you know, you do need to allow quite a bit of time, as you said, like there's just so much stuff behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
So, but it was that imperative, like I just knew I had to do it. I just knew I had to keep doing the designing, keep teaching the classes, keep planning the classes. It's something innate in me that I have to do it.
It's like something grabs hold, and you just go, well, hang on a minute. I just know that if I don't give this a red hot go, it is something I'll regret not trying. And look, you take risks and it may not work out, or it might go in this direction when I was expecting it to go in this. Look, who knows? And that's fun. And that's kind of all quite exciting, really. Who knows what Yarn Trail Victoria is going to be like in a couple of years' time? I've got ideas and I've got, you know, plans and desires and goals, but look, who knows?
But you don't need to know that. You don't have to know that when you set out for a business. Like, no one starts a gym's mowing thinking, this is what my next 5 years are going to be like. You only really know some information about, you know, what the experience might be like. So we're a bit the same, you and I. Like, we know some of what it might be like based on our experience and based on our aspirations. But then also, it's kind of exciting not to know.
Like, it is. And I welcome change. I've always been the person who, you know, I got to change the room around every now and again. So it's a bit different, you know, that type of stuff. So change is good. And then, and just seeing how it goes with the best intentions, and then just finding out each step of the way what that looks like, and just sticking with I know this is right. I know doing this is a good idea. And, you know, I know it's a good idea, but a lot of people have also told me it's a good idea, and what they see as great opportunities around it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fantastic. So I can really, the more I talk to people, the more I can see the community around it and stuff like that. And I'll just stick with that as the driving sort of thing. And just knowing, look, if I don't try in 5 years, I'll go, I really should have. And so I suppose that's it. It's a business, and that's the other thing. It's nerve-wracking, isn't it? You know, when you're starting out saying writing, it's hard to call yourself a writer, or it's hard to go, I'm a small business owner. Yeah, okay. You know, and I've got to start thinking, and that's going to mean for me thinking in quite different ways that I'm not used to in my full-time job at school. It's not, you know, I have to drive things differently, you know.
It is. You do have to inhabit a different identity, really. And so I just want to talk then again about the I guess the dark side of where you are a business, but you're still convincing yourself it's a hobby, and you still think of yourself
Yeah.
just a knitter or just a crocheter or just a yarn dyer, and you trick yourself into thinking it's just a hobby and I don't need to keep detailed records, or I don't need to adhere to terms and conditions, or it's just a hobby. We're all just in this for the fun, aren't we? But in actual fact, like once you start in this down this path, you do have to have a degree of professionalism, especially
Well,
because it's
yeah.
such a small community and things you do, people see and they hear and they notice.
They do, and they yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that's the bit where, you know, when you and I have had talks about terms and conditions and things and, you know, just building business and stuff like that, you just think, oh yeah, hang on. I'm not just, you can't be flippant about it.
No.
You
Yeah.
can't be flippant and go, oh, it is really just a hobby. Look, you know, I'll do that and I won't worry about those things. No, you have to worry about those things. And they're the bits
Yeah.
of stuff that take up the time, you know, that's the non-exciting bit
That's
of
right. Yeah.
the whole thing. Like, yeah, cool. I'm planning on visiting a lot of farms and things next year. That'll be, you know, that'll be fantastic. But I'm going to have to budget for the petrol and I'm going to have to put down the costs and I'm going to have to make sure, you know, how am I offsetting some of these things? And
Yeah.
that's the stuff that it's easy to push aside
Records
because it's
and
not super
receipts.
exciting. Pardon?
Keeping records and receipts.
Yeah, that stuff. You know,
Yeah.
I don't like admin. Admin is
No.
boring.
But it's
But
so important, and I think not just for you and for your own integrity as a business, but
yeah,
for others to have a good experience of working with you as well, or for others to have a good
absolutely.
experience of working with me. It's really important that I act in a professional way, and that I, you know, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it, and you know that it,
And
you know,
I
the
think that
quality
also
of
comes down to this
experience.
idea of taking ourselves seriously.
Yeah.
Like, you
Mhm.
know, we are small business owners, we're Knitrepreneurs, whatever. We love that word. And
Yeah.
we have to take ourselves seriously and present ourselves seriously and say, hey, look, this is what I do and I enjoy it and this is why I do it. And, you know, I've got my standards or got my boundaries and, you
Yeah.
know, that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
important too.
And having those sometimes icky conversations about what you expect for something as well. Like, you
Yeah,
know, it's so much more fun to say, yes, I do this, let's do everything. And then like, oh, we'll worry about the details later. But you know, that's actually less fun in the end, isn't
yeah,
it? If you don't
yeah,
properly map out the experience or the opportunity together. And
that's
yeah.
right. What we offer has value.
Mm.
And so, you know, we need to believe that and make sure that that comes across as well. So, yeah, it's interesting new terrain.
It is.
It's yep,
So what I'm wondering is, before we move on,
yep,
and I think this is something, this is homework. So in the comments, write this. What was the moment when you realized that you were a business and not a hobby?
yep. And how did that feel?
Mm.
Yeah, how did you
Yeah.
feel? Was it exciting or were you afraid or, you know, give us some of the feeling around that. When did you realize and or are you contemplating
Yes. Yeah, that's a good
that bit
question.
and how's that feeling for you? So,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, because some people would be excited by that moment and other people might be
terrified.
afraid.
Yeah. Or it could be a mixture of the two.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have, yeah, you can feel two things at once. You can feel five
Absolutely.
things
And
at once.
I think that applies to me, the mixture of the two. Like, yes, because of the drive of, yes, I know this is good. I'm going to do this. This is wonderful. Oh God, I've got to do all this work. There's risk involved. But it was fantastic. Yes, but oh my goodness. Like, you know, dips and what do you call it? Valleys and troughs. And
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, it's interesting. Cool. And we'll report back on how we're going, of course.
Let's do books. So this is my book.
Oh yes,
It arrived in the
wonderful.
post the other day. I think it came up as a review. I think that's right, because I subscribe to Kate Davies' newsletter, and
Mhm.
she wrote about this book, and but also like I'm um, doing an Estonian knitting class at Vogue Knitting Live, and I'm just obsessed at the moment. I
Yeah.
just do that. I just go down these rabbit holes and like just explore one thing ad nauseum, and then I move on.
Get obsessed and then you move on. Yeah.
but it is amazing. It's like it's part archive, part history kind of thing, but also design. And I really hate how the background does that. But it's got photos, it's got charts, it's got these amazing fragments of knitwear from like hundreds of years ago, and then it has the chart. I'll show you one example if I can. I don't know if you can.
Other way. There we go. Yep.
Oh, it's a ghostly book. Oh, well.
Oh, there it is. Sort of. Not really.
No. Oh, woo. Anyway, you just have to take my word for it. There is fragments of knitting with charts. They've actually been able to chart it, and also the gauge. It's amazing. So yeah, a lot of color work techniques in there. But also,
what makes it Estonian knitting? What are the sort of characteristics for that?
Yeah, so one of the techniques that Alex Bird is teaching at Vogue Knitting Live is this Estonian inlay, or ruusuman, which is where you basically deliberately put the floats on the top, so it looks kind of like a embroidery. And it's beautiful and colorful, and there's some of that in here, but there's also more that sort of traditional fair isle sort of stranded color work technique as well. And then what they do is they often juxtapose like lace and color work, so it's this beautiful rich design that's like very textural, and it's just gorgeous. I'm totally obsessed. Yeah. So that was my book. So then we got talking before we came on air about techniques, and one of the main things, I guess, for any kind of color work technique is how do you manage multiple colors. And I just wanted to point out again that in Yarnologie, this is a very...
Your tutorial happens to be exactly about that.
Color dominance. So yeah, there's a color dominance tutorial in there. About how to hold the two yarns, how to make sure that the color you want to sort of stand out from the background in the foreground is consistent. So that it's really to do with how you hold the yarn and how you float the yarn in ceramic color work. So
are you holding the yarn into one in each hand?
I do it in my left hand. I do 2 fingers in my left hand. But I show you how to do it in 2 hands or 2 colors in your right hand. But really it's about what feels comfortable and what you're used to. So, you know, if you prefer to do continental, you might like to do 2 fingers like me, but like 2 hands is actually really the traditional way. And then it also means that you can put your 2 colors on either side of your body, or in 2 different pockets, or 2 different yarn bowls, or so to stop them from twisting.
Ooh.
Wonderful. So technique and book for this evening from me.
Technique and book, excellent.
Now, what's your book?
My book is, we are going from Estonia all the way over to the Celtic lands, and I have a Celtic cable shawls book.
Oh, gorgeous.
Just gorgeous. Now,
I love that cover.
Isn't it beautiful? And I'll just try to show you a bit the background's not going to love us.
I like that. I like the color combination as well. That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. And I love going for stuff that's, you know, got color work all through it. But a lot of these are just where the patterns are just, so the cables are just the bomb, like just the gorgeous. Be able to see that anyway. But it was quite the book to get, because I didn't know it was coming. So my sister lives in Scotland, and she sent this to me for Christmas, along with a couple of other things. So it was in a parcel on my front doorstep. In a parcel on my front doorstep yesterday. I had no idea it was coming. So it's just one of those gorgeous, it's called Celtic Cable Shawls by Lucy Haig. And she must have been inside my brain at some point, my sister, because I've been looking at a lot of shawls, especially like the shawl you're wearing. So you have to tell us about it very soon. I'm thinking, do you know what? I should probably try wearing some shawls, because it just hasn't been something that, has happened in my style, but I can see that they'd be lovely, satisfying things to knit that wouldn't take as long as a jumper, and just the possibilities and the patterns that I'm seeing, not just say like with something like a Stephen West shawl, but all of these, and you just think, oh, goodness me, that could really be something. So she must have been inside my brain and sent me a shawls book. So I'm excited about that.
I'm obsessed with cables, so I'm going to jump on and try and get a copy of that book too.
Yeah, absolutely. Now tell us about the gorgeous shawl you're wearing. And we have seen it on the podcast before, but it's now done.
Yeah, that's right. I finally finished it, and it does actually have some cables in it. So, it's got these cables along here. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Beautiful. Lovely.
What's amazing about them is they actually have an I cord. This sort of golden bit here is that's woven in after the fact. So that's a really unusual technique where Stephen's got us to knit I cords, and then like the sort of like 20 centimeters, and then you sort of thread them through, because there are like little holes in the cable when you twist them, the stitches, and displace them from their correct order, it creates a hole. Sorry.
Oh, yes.
We've already done the technique for tonight. I'm sorry. So that was really fun. But then I also love these braids here, which kind of look like cables, but they're actually created by these casting on and off for a few stitches for I don't know how many rows this is. I can't remember. It took forever. That was all clue one.
Yeah.
Then you loop it up. You travel up the to create that effect. So I mean, his brain is just he just thinks differently. It's beautiful. It is art. And I love, again, the colors, and then the twisted stitches, which aren't cables, but you do need a cable needle unless you kind of work out a hack, which I did to do those. Yes, it's beautiful. It was called the Twists and Turns MCAL this year, so there were lots of different twists, and twists in plot twists as well, because didn't know certain things were coming. So it was
cool. Yeah, all part of it. Oh yeah, I reckon Yarn Trail is going to get onto something for that next year, for the next.
That'll be cool.
Right. Yeah, good fun.
So we're having a block party actually this weekend. Yarn Traders having a block party. I'm going along, and we've been asked to wear our MCAL shawls if we finish them, or something else that we've knitted this year to share, show off. It's too hot, but the weather's been pretty mild here, so I'll probably end up wearing my shawl.
We're still having winter. It's the end of November. We are literally still having winter here in Ballarat. It is.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, next week is literally summer. We'll start summer, but it doesn't feel like it.
No, I was wearing a crochet towel to work today, just one my sister made for me, and so I'm in a winter jacket with a cowl on, and it's end of November.
It's crazy.
It's insane. Really need some sunshine. We'll get there. What are we up to?
We're now up to, I think it's time for
the chicken. Okay, so everyone, I thought the chicken would read to us again, or I would on behalf read to us again from Stephanie Pearl McPhee's Meditations for Women Who Knit Too Much. They're called At Knit's End. So we'll do that.
Oh, hello, chicken of wisdom.
Chicken.
Oh,
snuggle in. This is a bit ridiculous. Anyway, the chicken's there. Okay, so our meditation. All right, everybody, if you'd like to close your eyes. No, you don't. You don't have to do that at all. Okay, it begins with a quote. The universe is full of magical things, patiently waiting for our wits to grow sharper. Okay. So there are many ancient stories of knitting, and there are even some that tell of knitting as a magic charm. Ooh. We are a bit magic. We're a bit magic.
I think so.
Spells that can be wrought in the stitches of sweaters, blankets, and socks for purposes known only to the knitter. One of these stories recounts how knitters used to knit a hair from their own locks into the garment for another, thus binding them to that person, thus binding that person to them forever. Oh, lovely idea. And Stephanie Pearl McPhee says, I will accept the legend of this magic charm, both because it is lovely and because it is easier to believe in magic than to try and pick my hair out of my knitting all the time.
I was listening thinking, this is me. Oh no.
Me as well. You sit there going, oh my God, you don't get a hair in there, and you pull it and it just keeps coming out. So I don't know what that means for all the dog hair that I collect in the knitting as well, but you know, bound to the animals forever. What? Oh, okay. All right. Whatever. But yeah, it's easier than picking it all out. Look, magic properties, magic fibers of love.
I love it. I love it. So good.
So that's what the chicken and I have to offer this evening. Thank you all for joining us again.
Thank you. Yes.
We're having a lovely time being Knitrepreneurs and sharing all that with you and putting these together. So do keep joining us. Do keep leaving your comments and asking any questions.
I really want to hear people share about their moments of realizing that their hobby is not a hobby, but a business.
Bit of business, yeah.